Hey people, my name's Carl and welcome to Game On.
So for today's after game review, we've got Jank playing Krark and Ikra. We've got Steve playing Yuriko. We've got Alex playing Ich-Tekik.
Good
How am I
enough.
saying that?
Ich-Tekik is correct.
Ich-Tekik and Kraum, and we've got myself playing Kenny. Now, I won that game, so I'll start us off. To be honest, with my opening hand of 5 cards, I didn't have that much in it. I know I gambled, and I gambled for the Douthie. It's a mistake I've made before, thinking that that would be able to block those damn monkeys that had come out on the first turn, and I knew that were going to smack me. But I keep forgetting that thing has shadow. So yeah, I lost Ephemerate to Jank, which he couldn't use. I lost my Dockside to Alex, who got very lucky with that one. But I sort of knew if someone destroyed it, I'd get it back into the graveyard at least. So that's one of my win cons. It was not great, but it happened. And then the Tarnished Citadel, and then I actually got very lucky when Alex decided, well, twice I got lucky essentially, because Alex decided to Time Twister. So in the hand of 7 that I got from the Time Twister, I got the Demonic Consult as the last card I picked up, and I had the D-Tutor in hand. I also had a Sylvan Library, a Neoform, and a Final Fortune. So I thought in my turn, I'm just going to have to detutor for Thoracle and try to win that way. I also had Silence in hand, obviously, as well. Now, where that would have fallen down is if I didn't pick up a land that allowed me to have some kind of white, I couldn't draw any potential counter spells out on the Silence, or not be able to cast Silence full stop. So yeah, look, it was just, I mean, you pretty much wheeled me into it, Alex, and that's no fault of yours, man. I certainly wasn't expecting it. I thought I was going to have no impact on this game whatsoever, other than giving you a dockside and helping you. I mean, you dealt us an absolute truckload of damage. Steve as well, dealing us 11 damage from that top deck. That was insane. So yeah, that's pretty much my spiel on the game. It was just, you know, like other games, the heart of the cards actually won me that one. So yeah, what were your thoughts, Jank?
Yeah, I mean, that was a rough game of going to 5 and kept a 1 lander and then going through 3 turns with no land, so it was great. But before the wheel, it was a game plan. I had the Tavern Scoundrel, the Harmonic
Harmonic Prodigy?
Wizard. Yeah, that one, Harmonic Prodigy. I had that one in hand. I had a Sheldred, and I had, which is kind of funny, and a Reanimate. I was like, yeah, you know what, we might be alright, and a Faithless Looting too. So I was like, okay, I could discard a bunch and then do a bunch of copies and reanimate some things and do some stuff, but it wasn't much, to be honest. And then the wheel, the wheel ended me here with.
Oh,
uh, it was 4 lands, 5 lands, sorry, a Cloudstone Courier on a gamble, and then I drew into sorry, it's 4 lands, a Cloudstone Courier, a gamble, and a Mox Amber. And I'm like, alright. If it gets to my next turn and Krark survives, I can at least double gamble and then try to go for either Dockside or the Twin Flame win, just depending on which one survives the roll. But yeah, it was no, I had nothing else. It was a bad game of draws. So I was like, yeah, we'll see how it goes.
all right, Stevie, what were your thoughts on the game?
Look, I had a pretty slow start. I didn't have a dork to play in my turn 1, and I drew into it turn 2, meaning, you know, Yuriko would be coming out turn 3. And look, you don't want to play Yuriko hard casting her into a board with full hands that could just destroy her, because everyone knows to get rid of her. And then the wheel happened, and oh man, that landed me with all the dorks, man. Like Mistblade Shinobi came back, and another ninja. And I only had misdirection and silence, and the Thassa's Oracle was not the win I could deal with. So there wasn't really much I could do about it. But keeping that first hand was just because of this cursed totem, and Kenrith being able to constantly gain life is the bane of my existence. So, when you're playing a burn top deck Yuriko, it's one of the worst things you can deal with. Yeah, not much I could do there.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, you can go for it.
I mean, yeah. So I'm playing the weird deck. So I'll show you guys my hand, and I'll be impressed if you know a couple of these cards. So I'm playing, basically, I call it colorless animal. So I'm playing a Microsynth Golem Ancestral Statue combo. And the idea is Reckless Fireweaver is my win con, or one of them. I can draw my whole deck with this, and basically the idea is I play a Microsynth Golem, which usually comes down quite early because of artifact ramp. As you can see, my deck is pretty much stacked full of artifacts. I'm running all the Dockside style cards. I'm running a lot of ramp. I guess I got stonewalled, but I expected to when I twisted, I was trying to twist her into like Soul Rings, like Mana Crypts, all the fast mana cards, and try to tutor for these two. Because the idea was with the Reckless Fireweaver is I can infinitely play the Ancestral and just burn you guys out. Currently, I'm looking at, with my current hand, maybe 2 turns until I can do that, because I didn't draw any artifact ramp, because I was going to play Ich-Tekik next turn, giving me an extra artifact, and hope to draw into something. And yeah, this combo just decides it wants to burn people out with a free Ancestral statue. So yeah, I was kind of... The Twister was kind of unkind to me. I just drew like 1 interaction spell, 3 lands and a gamble and an Ancestral, and it was just like, if I tutor for I was tempted to gamble for a mana door, like a mana rock instead, but I just didn't know what was correct there, so I just tried to go for the greedy line and hope. So it was just an interesting game for me because this deck is like a huge work in progress as a kind of a joke deck. But also, I actually have had some very good wins with it because this guy right here just beats face. But yeah, that's kind of beside the point. Yeah, just interesting time twister game there where I just time twisted into a garbage hand for myself. So, and apparently mana's into a Consultation Thoracle win. So, you know, but that's how these games go, right? I don't have I didn't have a choice. If you guys looked at my hand, I didn't really have a choice. I was on 3 lands other than those 2, other than the Twister and the cards I'd played out. So I was just in a pot spot where I was like, yeah, I'm just going to draw 5, pretty much, right? So it was just the only play I had.
I think with wheels, it is definitely sort of what you would say 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. You know, sometimes you wheel yourself into really good stuff. Sometimes you wheel yourself into bad stuff and other people into good stuff. So it's a tough one, man. But I think at the time it was definitely a good play. I mean, I only had, I think, 3 cards in my hand and they were pretty much garbage. I think there were at least 2 lands there, so I was like, you know, considering I had an opening hand of 5, I was like, yeah, I really want this wheel, and I was praying to God that Stevie wasn't sitting there going, yeah, no, I don't think that's a good idea, so why don't I just C-spell that, or some form of
I was
table
very
police.
close to doing it. Very close. Just because I knew you might draw into something good in particular. I know Kenrith has a lot of win cons.
He's got a few. I mean, I'm playing Evolution, so I think, you know, this is obviously one of the win cons, and then the other one sort of runs along the lines of your dock sides, and then you've got LED breach lines with brain freeze as well. So I think they're sort of the 3 main ones. But with Kenny on top of that, you know, you can just have a few critters out, pump them up to the max, give them trample with infinite dockside mana, and just beat people's faces in. Just for the audience as well, so obviously Alex is playing a slightly different deck. I mean, I've only played against this once, and it looks quite interesting, actually, the way that he was dealing a lot of damage early with that Pyromancer.
Reckless Fireweaver.
Reckless Fireweaver, yeah, he was dealing a lot of damage with that early on, and then with Stormkiln coming out, I was like, either I go for a win here, or, it came
Yeah.
down to him and Yuriko, and I was on low life at any rate because I got monkey bashed at the beginning of the game due to having a very average opening hand. But yeah, and then when I saw those two monkeys come out, I'm not going to lie, my heart just went down. Yep, I thought, yep, no, I'm not going to be doing much. I'm going to get cards taken that I need to do stuff, and that was it. So yeah, these deck lists. So Krark and Ikra is one that Jank, I think how long have you had that deck for? I haven't seen you play it before, admittedly, other than
Oh,
a couple
this
of
is
nights
very
ago.
new. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is very new.
So they're two pretty new decks, and I have seen this Kraken Ikra deck go off, and when it does the thing it does it very well.
Steve was very smart to remove Krark twice.
Yes.
That is it.
Yeah, getting rid of
Yeah.
Krark is I've noticed in games that I've played in the past against that deck. Well, I think I've only played against it once or twice. Trying to keep Krark off the board or making you recast him to use up mana so you can't keep continually recasting those instants and sorceries and getting extra value seems to be high on the list of what to do with it. But if you do get and manage to keep Krark out and then Ikra comes out, your life total just skyrockets and it gets nasty. But Ikra's so good for that with the life total and life gain. It's just redonkulous.
Yeah, the life gain for this deck is an added bonus. Because it allows me to just be able to run really weird things and or get massive value from, Bolus of Citadel, that sort of thing, and reanimator things like being able to Krark and double reanimate after a double entomb and get like an It That Betrays and a Sheoldred, that's like 19 damage I'm happy to take, because then the next turn I'll just swing with them, and then Ikra gains, like I gain 19 life of that, 17 life, something like that. So it gets really dumb value like that, but the main thing is with this, and I feel like any Krark deck, is you just get rid of Krark.
Yeah, keep him
if
off
you
the
don't
table.
get rid of Krark, then that kind of crazy stuff happens. So
Stop the value.
Yeah, that first turn that Steve removed Krark, when he put it back to the top of the library, my game plan then was the same thing. It was to double entomb and to double reanimate. So it was like, and then put into a really ugly spot. So it was either go get a Void Winnower and a Karvak, or go get Sheoldred and It That Betrays, and then just sit there and have some fun.
Yeah, it was definitely between your Krark and the Reckless Fireweaver.
Yeah,
It was one or the other.
Me trying to bait it out a little bit to get the Fireweaver was totally because I wanted to do my thing, but yeah, it was definitely the right choice.
It's definitely a tough choice, man, because that Fireweaver had done a bucket load of damage. But
Oh yeah.
it's then, what do you choose? Do you choose to remove a damage dealer and potential win con, or do you remove a really good value piece, which is pretty much a win con in itself as well?
To me, the Reckless Fireweaver was just helping me deal my burn damage, right?
I was
Yeah.
about to
One more
say the same thing.
big top deck, and then Manners was out of the game.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's what
I mean-
I was expecting, to be 100% honest. I was expecting an 8 or 9 pointer on the next turn or something. Speaking of that, what is the next 2 cards? Because you would have drawn in your next turn and then the card after that.
Oh, Gingerbrute.
Yep.
And then I would have flipped an Imperial Seal.
All right. So I would have been safe.
Pretty scary the next turn.
Well, the turn after that, then, yeah, that would have been
Yeah.
probably pretty close to game over for me. Yeah, so as I said, man, it was the luck of the wheel. Yu-Gi-Oh's Heart of the Cards actually came through for me this time with the Time Twister. It was an interesting game, though, from a starting perspective, because I think we were all sort of doing stuff. It was just, it turned out that the wheel sort of favoured me a little bit more than anyone else. So that's just luck of the draw, basically. But yeah, I enjoyed that game. It was still pretty quick, but it was packed full of things. So I think we'll wrap this after game chat up there. Thank you very much for the game, boys. I appreciate it a lot.
Awesome.
Thank you as always.
And we'll be all on again soon, doing this again for all you people out there who are watching Game On. Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching the After Game Review. We hope you found it useful and tune in for next week's instalment from Game On.